Grab your popcorn and snacks. Find a comfy spot, take a seat or lie down, and let me transport you to a place of fantasy, ghost stories, ancient legends, odd creatures, alien encounters, and other magical topics. You may even decide to join the conversation. From faraway lands to your own backyard, with a small dash of pixie dust, turn out the lights and open your minds. The journey is about to begin. Hey, welcome. You can see we're doing this a little different today. I'm not on the mic, I'm not on the headphones or anything like that because we got a special show today. I don't know if I could follow up yesterday's show, to be honest. Jason was so great. But I decided to share some stuff with you guys. When I first started airing these shows, I was trying to share stuff, and StreamYard at that time didn't have the capability. So recently I've been able to play around with Zoom and learn on it, and then StreamYard got the capability. So I've been doing this presentation, and I did this presentation last weekend, and it worked out pretty well. But we can't get through the whole presentation. It's a 2-hour presentation. So I decided tonight, since we're on Ghost Week, let me move over here a little bit, and this being Halloween, that I would do part of the presentation of the more local places with ghosts and the evidence that we got. And you're going to be able to, hopefully, if everything works well with StreamYard, you guys can let me know through the chat. I've got EVPs to show you. I've got photo evidence to show you. I got a very interesting video to show you guys as well if we get that far. So let me turn the ticker tape off here. Hi, Marcy. Let me get the ticker tape off, and we're going to do this. So I'm going to share screen, and maybe part of me, you'll be able to see part of me at the screen. Okay. Well, I hope that fills up your screen. If not, can you guys see the screen all right? Marisa, can you see the screen? Just tell me. Make sure you guys can see the shared screen on here, because I'm going to get my face off of here, and I'm going to make it big so you guys can see stuff, okay? All right, so there we go. Okay. This is part of my Ghost of Gold Country presentation that I do for on Zoom for people. But I thought I would share this stuff with you guys because, okay, all right. I'm going to turn this thing off and tell me if you can hear me after that, because it usually tells me it's going to mute me. So hang on. Here we go. Okay, welcome, and we're going to share some stuff today. I was hoping the share screen would be bigger, but every time I go off share screen, it mutes my mic. So we're just going to have to do it this way. My name is Charlotte, and I'm the founder. See if I can do it. See if I go back right here. What does this do? Aha! Okay, my name is Charlotte. I'm the founder of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team based out of Sacramento. We've got 35 strong on our team up and down the state of California, Hawaii, Washington, Oregon, and Nevada. And we're a pretty busy team. And we've done probably nearly 200 investigations in the last 18 years. We've been so busy, and the majority of those really have been residentials. We started out doing commercial work because that's the best way to learn is to go out and do commercial work because you're not dealing with people's lives. So anyway, During our commercial work, we visited certain places, and you run into certain places that are your favorites, like your go-to places that you go back to all the time. And these places that you're going to see tonight are places that we keep going back to because what we get there is so nice. It's so good. The spirit kind is cooperative. These are also places that you could go visit. Okay, the first one might have a little bit of a warning on it, but yeah, these are places that you can go visit. So you can find us at the main team site's www.californiahaunts.org. Our radio site is www.californiahauntsradio.com if you want to check out some of these videos. Anyway, let's start, and hopefully the computer will behave itself and not be so wonky. So I'm going to go to my other screen, and we're going to do this. Welcome. Let me roll it up. Okay, come on. Don't do this to me. There it goes already. My computer is really wonky. Oh, I know what I did wrong. Sorry, guys. These days, boy. Okay, here we go. Okay. So welcome again. See, I'm just learning how to do all this online. And like I said, this is something that I take around. I take it on the road to show people what this team does. So here we go. Goes to the Gold Country. The first place we're going to visit is Sequoia Restaurant. It used to be a restaurant up in Placerville. Right now, it's owned by Wedgwood. It's Wedgwood Sequoia. So I don't know if they're having dinners there at night like they used to or not, or if they're allowing teams in there. Wedgwood wants to have a lot of weddings and stuff. So, in my opinion, I don't think they're too crazy about having the place known as being haunted. But you could always ask. But in the meantime, we've been going up there a lot. The Bennett House was built in 1853 by Colonel Frederick B. In 1859, it was purchased by Judge Marcus P. Bennett, who expanded to 16 rooms. In 1958, it was purchased by the Elks. It was sold once again in 2001. It is now owned by Wedgwood Weddings. Tragedies on the property include Bennett's son Marcus reportedly fell down the stairs and was killed when he was 3, and a nanny felt so guilty over the death that she reportedly hung herself upstairs. Reports of activity, water faucets turn on by themselves. There's a cold feeling on the stairway. Reports of apparitions in the attic. Reports of the reflection of a woman and boy in the women's bathroom mirror. We'll talk about that a little later. The apparition of a woman in period clothing seen in the kitchen. A man and woman seem sitting in a swing on the front porch when there's no swing. Lights turning on and off by themselves. A mist has been seen on the upper part of the stairway that seemed to move at human speed. The apparition of an older man has been seen in what was the old dining room. When we did the investigation, 5 camera batteries died in the hallway near the woman's bathroom. Couldn't get a clear picture of it. You can see there. I was the photographer, so I know. Okay, so every photo I took in that hallway, couldn't get anything. Laura, when she was setting up equipment in the Empire, I'm sorry about the misspellings on this. I was real tired when I put this together. Laura, when setting up equipment in the Empire Ballroom, reported hearing footsteps on the stage. I can vouch for that because when I've been in there by myself, and I used to work at the Placerville paper, so we would have dinners and stuff at the Sequoia. And when I would be in there by myself, I would hear footsteps coming up behind me as well. It's an old wood floor, so take it for what it's worth. We did a prelim, the first prelim we ever did there. We're all sitting at the bar, interviewing the bartender, interviewing different employees as they came in. And I noticed the light would flicker as we were asking the manager questions. I spoke with the manager, and he said, well, we just had the wiring checked. There shouldn't be anything wrong with it. Okay, the flickering lasted to the whole hour-long interview that we did with the employees. And then the minute we packed our stuff up to leave, everything was fine, because I came back in to thank the manager and everything for letting us in. Everything was working fine. In here, Laura conducts an EVP session in the upstairs dining room. On that particular day, it was a Sunday afternoon, the employees were preparing for a wedding, so it was really noisy, and we couldn't really get a clear session out of it. Okay. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, well, in this room, I guess during the prelim, the sensitive said she saw children in the lounge. Karen, it's missing a phone. I'm sorry, it's missing. I have no idea why it's not there. Karen said, Karen on our visit also saw children running around. We could not scientifically verify the presence of any spirit children. After conducting the session, Karen told us that meeting a woman on the staircase could have possibly been the nanny. As our investigation time was ended, we headed over to the women's restroom. Okay, so the EVPs are not working today. So what we're going to do is I'm going to try and play them off my desktop. So just bear with me. When we get to that, I was hoping they would work, but they're not triggering. So, dang it. Okay. So I'm going to get off this and go to the desktop. We began our EVP session in the bathroom with Karen using dowsing rods while attempting to channel the woman. A meter which we had placed near the mirror reacted twice during the session. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move out of this and see if we can't get these EVPs to play for you guys. So I am going to go into my PC files. Just give me a second. See, this is the stuff I found was happening the last time. We couldn't get these things to play. So let me go in, and you're going to see a lot of stuff on my drive. Really? Oh, I know what's wrong. Okay, hang on. Oh, that's not it. Now it's not reading the drive. That's what's wrong. Well, that's not good, is it? All right, hang on. See, I've got a problem because the computer's not reading the drive right now. Yeah, that's the issue. Always something. It says it's there, but it's not. Just give me a minute. Technical difficulties. Dang nabbit. That is not my drive. It should have my drive. It should have a couple more drives on here. It doesn't. Well, I'll tell you what. At the end of this, we'll go ahead and. I'm really sorry about that. At the end of this, we'll go ahead and listen to these EVPs. All right. I'm sorry about that because I'm going to have to switch everything over. Anyway, this women's restroom. One of our investigators had gone in there to use the restroom, and she turned and hang on. Now I'm shook. Sorry, guys. Don't think I'm a flake or anything on this. For some reason, it's not letting me in there. Okay. All right. Let me get back to the slideshow. Let me get in here. Hang on. We should have done this on Zoom. I'm convinced now. We really should have done this on Zoom. Okay. Anyway, we began an EVP session in the bathroom. A meter which we placed near the mirror reacted twice during the session. And we'll play the EVP a little later once I can figure out why it's not reading, why I'm not seeing the drive. Okay. I apologize. This is really embarrassing. We should have done this on Zoom. Anyway, one of our investigators had gone into the bathroom, and she came out all white-faced because one of the legends is that when women go to that particular restroom on the bottom floor, that Mrs. B shows up, and you'll see her over your shoulder in the mirror. And this is what happened to Janelle when she went in. Mrs. B supposedly showed up in the mirror, and Janelle was just completely freaked out. When it happens to an investigator, it's kind of scary, but that's what Janelle saw in that bathroom. This is Karen. Now, bear in mind that the day we went in was another Sunday. They had all the air conditioning off. They had all the heat off in the restroom. And so while Karen's doing her EVP session, I decided to take some pictures with the thermal imaging camera that we have. And this is what came up. Now, this was originally a sequence of 20 photos. Okay? And I remember the bathroom doors are wooden, so there's no heat or anything on them. So if you look at this, you can see something's right here. I'm going to use the pointer. Something's right there. Looks like it's almost manifesting. And then it goes away. And then the rest of the photos go like that. Okay? So the rest of the photos show it trying to come back up. So something was manifesting just above the back of Karen's head while she was doing that EVP session. As we talked through the rods with a woman, I asked her if she was buried in the cemetery, because there's a cemetery across the way, a very old cemetery, across the way from the Sequoia. I asked her, and she said yes, and I asked her if I went to the cemetery, if she would lead me to the grave. The rods crossed yes again, and we headed over there. Using the dowsing rods, I asked if the woman was with us. They crossed yes. I asked her to lead me to her grave via the rods. We filmed this, can't find the video now. They began to move, and I was led to the grave of a woman with the same first name as the one that Karen came up with in the bathroom. Before we left, we checked back in with the manager of the Sequoia, and I gave him the name of the woman, and he said that she had been a maid that had worked there in the early 1900s. So that's kind of cool. Our next stop is the Seasons. The Seasons, the Otis Plumado House. The Otis Plumado House was built in 1859 on a property that once held a gold stamp mill. Abraham Vedder is the first known owner of the property. Abraham Vedder sold the home in 1862 to Henry Otis for $100. Mr. Otis, who at one time employed John Wheelbarrow Studebaker. That's right, the Studebaker family, the car people, okay, before he began making wagons and later automobiles, and purchased the Hugh Hines blacksmith shop. Now, the key thing about this is Mr. Studebaker went to Placerville, ended up making wheelbarrows, but he thought he could make a better wheelbarrow, so he started to produce what they call the Studebaker wheelbarrows. Every year at the county fair in Placerville, they have the Studebaker wheelbarrow races. So that's a piece of history for you. Let me go back here. In 1874, Otis sold the house to the Plumado family for $600 in gold, and it remained in that family for many, many years. Okay? Now, I say I can't things in a way. Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? Okay, so yeah, for 75 years. Francis Plumado, a native of Canada, later from Missouri, came to Placerville in 1852. The magnolia trees still growing along one side of the property were planted by the original Mrs. Plumado. Okay? Before the days of indoor plumbing, a two-seater outhouse sat across the creek at the back of the property. The foundation of the house is built on old tombstones that had mistakes and could not be used for the original purpose. The cottage, one of two extra buildings on the grounds, was originally a chicken coop and was later rebuilt as a home for a seamstress that everyone knew as Jo. Before Bedford Avenue was paved, it was lined with poplars and was lower than the current street level. What is now the main floor of the house, with the parlor, dining room, and kitchen, was once the second floor with 2 bedrooms. Later, owners replaced the marble fireplace in the parlor with one built of stones that they hand-picked in various places. The old house is located at 2934 Bedford Avenue. It's a bed and breakfast. Anybody can go. The owner of the house just thinks it's terrific to have people there to talk about her ghost. She loves her ghost. In fact, she bought the Shashki House, which is another house in Placerville that's reportedly haunted. The house is built of brick and placerite stone. The lower half of the brick house is built below ground level because of the extensive mining and slewing activity that took place there, having washed the soil away. The walls are 18 inches thick in the lower section and made of handmade bricks produced in Placerville. One of the weird things about this house is that they took tombstones that hadn't been used, and they put that in that bottom. They put that in the bottom foundation of the house. Not to mention, when you go around, you have to leave the front of the house and go around the corner to get to the back part of the property. And those are also tombstones that were never used. So it's kind of cool when you're walking over it. According to psychics Catherine, Martha, Margaret, and Buck still roam the grounds of the buildings. Buck was one of the owners, but he wasn't called Buck. His name was Jim Lewis, and he's buried in the cemetery across from the Wedgwood Sequoia. See, I told you. The Wedgwood Sequoia Cemetery is awesome. His nickname was Buck because he skimmed beer. Buck also had a drinking problem because he liked to go out and party with the ladies. So when he would come home really drunk, they would lock him in the chicken coop until he sobered up. The girls would. Now, the new owner, very great lady, if you ever want it, her name is Robin. If you ever stop by this place, she'll take you on a tour because she just loves one of these people that's into her ghosts. After the building was purchased, the owner's mother, who lives nearby, because Robin lived in another city, okay, like back east, and her mother would drive by to check, take a look at the house on her way home, and she would report seeing an overhead fan light on while no one was inside. They called the electrician out, and he could find no reason for it to be on. She even had him disconnect it. Okay? Soon after, her mother drove by and saw that the electric fireplace was on. She asked the electrician to replace the thermostat, and he assured her it wouldn't turn on again. So she held off getting another thermostat. But it did happen again. The owner then replaced the thermostat. On another occasion, a utility worker went out to the property to work on the meter and had trouble finding it. He claimed that something seemed to go right through him, and it shook him so much that he left the property. Could it have been Buck? Because Buck likes it. There's reports that Buck likes to roam the property and keep an eye on things. Just recently, I found this out last week, that a guest was staying in one of the cottages and awoke to find a man standing right above her. Now, on our investigation, if you're going to go out there, you can't use DVR system. It's just too spread out. Unless you have very long cables. We run 20-foot, 200-foot long cables, and we still couldn't do it. That or a wireless system. We split up into 2 teams of 3, spent about an hour in each building and an hour outside in the stump area. And the Peach Cottage investigators experienced cold spots and EMF meter spikes that cannot be explained. In the Moulin Rouge room, she's got a peach room, she's got a Moulin Rouge room, everything's steamed. Charged batteries kept running out of energy. We used about 30 batteries in a 15-minute time span in that room. Plus, we experienced cold spots and other things in that room. Breezes that shouldn't have been there, hot spots, stuff like that in that room. The bathroom is unique in that there's a small museum located in a curio cabinet on one wall of the bathroom. In this cabinet are artifacts that the owner found after heavy rains near the creek. There's a dirt levee built behind the property to divide her property from the other property. And what happens is that when it rains, you know how like hills will cave in a little bit. Well, stuff comes out of that dirt, and so she has amassed a lot of stuff. Now, obviously, the guns were not amassed, but I mean, she's gotten bullets from the Civil War era. She's gotten Native American jewelry. She's gotten, like, you can see the pot pieces, and whatever that vial thing is. So she's gotten a lot of stuff out of there. The issue is having this in the bathroom has caused activity in that bathroom where the water will turn on by itself, the toilet flushes by itself, things like that go on in this bathroom, and people that use it come out looking white-faced because they say they get touched and stuff when they go in there. Obviously, we had an EVP in the bathroom, which we're going to get to at the end. I'm so sorry about that. But I promise you we'll get to those EVPs. Okay. Now, outside, there's a stump area where people can sit, chat, fire pit. She uses it for a dance area for weddings, or she'll use it for the bar area during weddings, wedding receptions and stuff. So it's an interesting place because when you sit down in there, you can feel the air thicken. At least the night we were there, the air was thick. And what's really spooky about the whole thing is that we were there and, it was October, granted, but the weather was like 40 degrees or maybe 50, where it wasn't weather where you could see your breath at all because we had thermometers with us. But as we continued our EVP sessions with the dowsing rods, you could start seeing our breath. Like all of a sudden, it got really cold where we were sitting out there. And you can say it's because we're outside in the foothills, right? But no, because once we stopped our EVP session, that stopped. The whole breathing thing stopped. So was it paranormal? Who knows? But that's what we're saying. Paula got a really great EVP out there, which of course we're going to hear later because this thing's being snarky at me. I also took over with the dowsing rods, got a real nice EVP. Again, we're going to try and track those down, computers being snarky. The grounds of the inn are park-like, and there are picnic areas and bench areas where guests can just sit and relax. An interesting feature are the steps leading from the front door to the left and down to the yard area. These steps were once tombstones that were never used. Paula and I decided to visit the bench area and got the feeling that we were being followed. We both kept looking over our shoulders, but no one was there. One of our EVPs actually says Paula's name. It's a man. Okay, so we'll go ahead and deal with that EVP in a bit, hopefully, if everything goes well. Here's the bench area. We sat down here. As we sat down again, we started to see our breath in the cool air. Like again, down at Placerville cools down in October. It wasn't cold enough to be able to see our breath. It was only 55 degrees. As we did not have a thermometer at this time, we couldn't tell just how cold the air had gotten. The only place we saw our breath that particular night, was in that little area. And then we start our EVP session. Again, another EVP out there. We got 3 EVPs out in that area. In the main house, we got together in the parlor in the parlor of the main building and decided to do some ITC work. Okay, ITC is an umbrella term which refers to all forms of spirit communication using any kind of electronic device. In our case, we like to use a black lined pan filled with water. One investigator agitates the water with one finger, while another one takes a flash photo, and yet another investigator, as you can see down here, shines a flashlight, a bright light on the water. Okay? In most cases, you do this in the dark, but it can be done with lights on. The investigator who stirs the pot asks questions just like in an EVP session, and if you are lucky, you might see a face or some object in the water. The only issue with this is that, you got all those little ripples and stuff. When you go over this stuff, you have to blow it up like 200% because you're only looking at maybe an inch, a half inch to 2 inches of whatever you're going to get. So you have to be really careful. Then you have to rotate the photos around to look and see what's in there. But we did get some ITCs, and I'm going to share them with you. Right there is the first one we got, if you can see it. There's a nose here. You got a mouth here. And it almost looks like a man's face. That would be the first one that we got. There's even a face down here. Now, what we didn't know at the time, and she didn't tell us during the prelim, was that she also collects old uniforms, like from World War II era and back. So she had some really, really old uniforms that she would collect. So we're thinking a lot of these extra faces might be connected to those uniforms. But this is all done with water. There is a woman's face. And when we went back through the files, this woman's face matched one of the sisters. I think it was Margaret. But you can clearly see her eyes, her nose, her mouth is right here. She had kind of chubby cheeks. And you can see the size of it because you can see the investigator's fingers, the size on the investigator's fingers. That's how small they are. So you might come back with 40 or 50 photos like this, through the whole, say, 10-minute session. And you have to go through everything to see what you can get. Here's another one of a man's face. In fact, that's similar to the one in the first picture. And again, something was coming in here, too. And see, that's the investigator's knuckle. So you can see how small these things are. Here's a clearer one of a man's face. This could be Buck. Strong possibility. We've done this technique in residentials where we picked up, we did one in Placerville where we actually picked up the former owner of the house. We had a photo of him, and it was the former owner of the house that we picked up. You could see his handlebar mustache. It was kind of cool. It was really cool. One of our favorite places, I want to click out real quick here. Make sure you guys are okay. Just give me a second. It's not letting me click out. Hang on. Well, hopefully you guys are seeing this because I'm trying to escape out now. There we go. I want to make sure you guys are seeing all this. So let me know if you're seeing all this. Okay, let me go back in here. So you guys are seeing this all right, right? Oh, man. Okay. All right, so we got problems with the system. I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm just going to tell the stories of these places, and then we'll go back and look at this stuff. How's that sound? Okay? As soon as we get out of this one, I'm just going to show you guys what we got, okay? Because now, of course, StreamYard's not doing what it's supposed to do. So, okay. I got it. So let's just do it that way. I'm just going to tell you the stories. So let me go back in, and I'll keep going here, and then I'll tell you the stories as we go. Talk about a cluster. Okay. All right, we're at the Murphy's Hotel. We're just going to go through, and then I'm going to show you what we got at these places. That's all. I'm not going to play around. Drapes in the Mark Twain Ballroom. Sorry. I'm just thrown off. The Sperry Perry Hotel was built in 1856. sat on the spot where the current Murphy's Hotel now rests. The hotel was damaged by fire in 1859, but opened in 1860. Guests at the hotel included Ulysses S. Grant, Mark Twain, and John and Jacob Astor, and Black Bart. If you look at the doors, upstairs of the Murphy's Hotel, the old part, you'll see that a lot of the people that were on the Titanic stayed at the hotel. It's kind of weird, because you start thinking if it's an omen or something. In 1882, the hotel was renamed as the Michler Hotel and then became the Murphy's Hotel in 1945. In 1978, it became a registered California landmark. So the things that... there we go. Okay. Drapes in the Mark Twain Ballroom closed by themselves. Employees report opening them for events and coming back and finding them closed. Hotel guests report hearing a woman crying in room 16. The story is that she was waiting for her love to return from the mines, and he never did. A woman named Eleanor has been reported seen floating in the dining room and exiting to go towards a window on the first floor. She has also been linked to the smell of rose water and smoke. She died in the fire at the hotel. In room 19, guests have seen the apparition of a grizzled miner who allegedly died of pneumonia. The Mark Twain Ballroom was used during the Civil War to house soldiers during the night. Rows of bunk beds were set up in the room. Doorknobs will turn by themselves. Sometimes guests cannot get in. Even with a key, the doors refuse to open. Phantom footsteps are heard frequently. Guests and employees have witnessed phantom card games in guest rooms. There's also reports of two mischievous little boys. A stomping gold miner is also heard, a shadowy figure in a wide brim hat in the basement. Laughter is heard at night, plus some people feel their toes being pulled while laying in bed. A gold miner who stomps the floor in front of room 9 is also an apparition, and sometimes you can smell them too. Like I said, doorknobs sometimes don't open when the key is used. In the basement, a shadowy figure has been seen. The basement area is also attached to tunnels that lead across the street. Employees report that mumbled voices can be heard during the evenings. Okay? We were able to set up our DVR system via the Mark Twain Ballroom. Cameras went in room 19, 18, 16, 17, the presidential suite, Mark Twain Ballroom, dining room, lower kitchen, and saloon. Because of the size of the building, we split into 3 teams of 4 and started in different areas, spending 30 minutes in each room. EMF levels in room 19 fluctuated as investigators conducted their sessions. Investigators smelled something in the room. One investigator reported that it smelled like the air after a lightning strike, or like burnt toast or burnt food. When the second group entered and got settled, the drapes on the window began moving. An investigator used a FLIR thermal imaging camera to see if the window had any leaks, but didn't find any. 10 minutes later, a cold breeze was felt near the eastern side of the bed. Unknown to the investigators, someone on Team 1 also felt the cold in that area too. Both times it disappeared as quickly as it appeared. Again, an EVP, huh? Okay, so when we go on these investigations, we like to use a remote psychic to start off. Psychic Nancy Matz at the time was living in Arizona. And she had never been to this hotel. I didn't give her the name of the hotel. I just told her that we were going to this old hotel. So she sends this back to me, and I want you guys to remember this because this is going to figure in with something that happens later. In the front of the house to the right, I saw a brown horse unsaddled. Appears to resemble a giant quarter horse breed. A man standing in front of the hotel with a 2-piece uniform, which appears to be gray, could be 5 feet 10 inches tall. First time I thought I could see facial hair, gray in color. Could it be General Grant? Upstairs, I could hear 2 women. The younger is crying. Brown hair, medium build, definitely younger. Older woman took her mother type her companion, trying to comfort to talk to the younger woman. Her grieving made me think of losing her man. She is deeply in love. I see a man who shows me he died in Bedford from disease. Very thin, lost weight because of his illness. I see him downstairs. Also downstairs, entering the front door and going slightly to the right, I see a larger lady, not sure that she was very tall. Seems to be commanding people around. I felt she was in the kitchen and managed the house. Now, I want to share with you, in room 19, the report is that the man who was in that bed died of pneumonia. Okay, there's no way Nancy could have known this. Just like the woman that she's talking about, the larger woman that she sees that's very tall that's commanding people around. There is a woman that people think is some kind of caretaker at the hotel. And you're going to see this because she's going to get a name soon. And there's a story about her in that two guys had broken into the hotel at night to do whatever they were going to do. And the guy that watches the hotel at night came in through the door, and these guys came running down the stairs. And he asked them what they were doing in the hotel, and he told them that a woman had appeared to them out of nowhere on the stairway and told them to get out. And so they took off running. So this is this woman. Also, I can never remember the guy's name. You know that cooking show when he goes in, that blonde dude, that blonde British guy with the nasty mouth, the big mouth. He goes in and he tells these restaurants how they can fix themselves and get the new menus and all that crap. Well, anyway, he came into this hotel to work on their restaurant. And as he was in the kitchen, pots and pans were being thrown at him and stuff by something. No one was there, but something was throwing these pots and pans at him. And I laughed when I went into the hotel because they told me about it, and I thought, well, I'd throw pots and pans at him too because he's a jerk. So she didn't like him at all. It was probably her. The other thing is when we go visit this hotel, they're keeping records of guest reports of hauntings. So when we walk in, they usually give us, it's usually on little strips of paper, but we usually get two handfuls like this of reports of stuff that's gone on at the hotel. Okay? So bear in mind what Nancy Matt's got. She's not even on scene. She's in Arizona. This is Karen Clark. Well, that's not Karen Clark. This is Karen Clark. She is our field psychic. She will go into the room. Sometimes she'll go into buildings or whatever before we set up our cameras, because sometimes maybe the ghosts won't be in the same spots on the night of the investigation that the witnesses say they see them. So she'll go in and say, hey, you need to put a camera over here and over here and over here to catch the ghosts tonight. They're not going to be where you thought they were. Okay, fine. Or what she'll do is we'll go and investigate, then she'll go in and look around without talking to anybody. Okay? So this is what she got by herself in the building. Now let's remember what Nancy Matt said on her pre-read. So Karen says, I picked up on a male energy about 40 to 50 years old who did not pass over. He stayed at the Murphys many times during his life. He was diligent and forthright answering all of our questions, but at times slow to go back into neutral. He was adamant that he did not want to cross over to the other side, and we informed him that he could do so. His story consisted of losing a loving woman who is currently searching for her love. Okay? Who he is currently searching for her love. The old miner was a hard worker and very honest in real life. He appreciated our love. He appreciated our love and the group's acknowledgement of his pain. He mostly stays in the room reading and does not bother other spirits. He will make curtains move, do paranormal activity, hopes of getting the living's attention for any amount of healing that may manifest. Now, is he the gentleman from room 19, or is he a different gentleman? Okay? So, that's, if you notice, Nancy saw a man as well, about that age. Room 9, investigators conducted EVP sessions in this room. No EMF meter spikes, however, all four felt very cold at different times and did not tell each other until they had exited the room. When you're in an investigation, you don't want to tell each other what's going on, because what it does, it's kind of like when something horrible happens and you cause a panic, everybody starts going, oh yeah, I saw that. You don't want to do that. So when you're investigating, you keep it to yourself. Then when you get out of the place where you're investigating, you can say, yeah, the hair on my hands, chicken skin, everything was standing up. I felt so cold. And then that's what I did, because this is the group I went in with. And then everybody else told me, yeah, you know what, I had the same sensation. It was, you could feel this cold spot. So it seemed like the cold went from person to person. They were checking us out. Psychic report from that room. She contacted an elderly woman who addressed herself as Agnes or Mildred. I could not pick up if either name was first or last. Per Agnes, she conveyed that she had been the main caretaker of the hotel. See what Nancy got with the caretaker? Since early 1900s. And that she watches over the hotel, making sure that everything is taken care of and in its place. She also stated that she takes pride in the building, and other spirits visiting and haunting the hotel rarely intimidate her throughout the decades. Agnes informed me that her duty is to comfort the living and to create an experience for all who may visit the hotel. So if you remember what Nancy Vance got, she picked up the spirit of a female caretaker. So there you have that. See, and that's one of the things we do and how we compare during investigations, not only what evidence we get with our electronics, but between our psychics. So you got a psychic off-site who got the same readings that the psychic on-site got, and they don't even talk to each other. So that's pretty cool. Mark Twain Ballroom is an interesting place. Like I said earlier, the curtains will open and close by themselves. Employees will set up for a brunch, open the curtains, or they'll set up for a wedding. They'll come back an hour later, the curtains are closed. It's not somebody in the hotel doing it, because when they do set everything up, they lock it because they don't want people just wandering in there, because they might ruin the setup for the wedding or whatever they're doing in there. So this happens all the time, just like the footsteps that they hear. Like anytime we've been in this ballroom, we've heard footsteps. There's a kitchen where that door is. Well, you don't see the photo, but there's a door there leading to a kitchen. That's an upstairs kitchen. And when you're in there, you can hear footsteps walking around the kitchen all the time. So it's an interesting place to be in. As we've visited this hotel on numerous occasions, the ballroom is the most productive when it comes to obtaining evidence. Perhaps it is because the spirit kind recognize and know who we are. That's one thing I've thought about over the years is that these places that we go back to, like Sequoia and Bed and Breakfast, and Murphy's, and the next one we're going to see after this, the Golden Opera House, it seems like we get better and better evidence every time we go back. And I do believe that. I do believe that after a while, the ghosts in there get acclimated to us, and they're more relaxed with us because they know we're not going to do stupid things when we're there. And so it really helps in obtaining evidence. EVP in the kitchen area off the ballroom. I guess they got EVP, okay. You could hear a male voice whispering fire door as Randy and Henry were discussing possible causes to a cell sensor spiking. And this is again that kitchen room in the ballroom. Becca describing where Randy is placing cell sensor for the readings he was getting. After she says, almost center of the floor of the kitchen are in the ballroom, a male whispered no. So what they were doing was they were taking the EMF meter because whatever this was moving around. So they were trying to figure out a pinpoint to see if it was something electrical. But they couldn't. Every time they set the meter down, it would twinkle for a while, and then it would just, the stuff would disappear, and then they would move the meter and pick it up somewhere else. Okay? At some point, Becca started to feel really unstable and was hard to stand without wavering, and she actually went out and threw up. And from what I understand, from the investigators told me when they came out, was that the air got so thick in the room that everybody started to feel real queasy. So that was something that happened that was really interesting. Not only Becca had to leave the room, the other guys did too. Randy then went back in the kitchen area again at the doorway with the cell sensor flashing consistently. Different area from before. He did not get this reading when he left the kitchen a few minutes before. The beverage cooler had initially set the cell sensor off, but it's not spiking the sensor anymore. The reading was a 4 at that point. So Jose and Henry, when they went in there, they had a tri-field meter, and they reported they were carrying it, to do a meter sweep, and they kept getting this energy. And this energy seemed to be like in a round ball because they traced it with the meter. And they ended up, and the report was, they both witnessed this to the point that this energy was moving around the room, and they were able to trace it around the room. So, yeah, you had stuff happening like that in there. Never a dull moment, Mark Twain. Now, when we talk about the kitchen, again, cell sensors now responding in the doorway, then started back up again. Randy's reading is 0.3 to 5, which is almost halfway on it. The cell sensor kept going off at different locations. And here's where I'm talking about the ball of energy. Team 2 went in after Team 1, and Jose started tracking energy field with the tri-field. He described it as a ball of energy that moved around the room. He actually could trace its shape. Now, Karen, when she went in on her walkthrough, reported getting a headache in the room, and the headache going away when she left the room. So something similar that happened to Becca happened to Karen. Okay, we're going to go back over those EVPs. Hopefully we can get this to play today. Jose had a real unique experience. We went back, last time we went back to the hotel, we decided to go in the Mark Twain Ballroom and do like a little seance thing. And there were 4 of us in there, my mother included. And I had decided, I was shooting with just a handheld video camera, the Sony, with night shot. And I had decided to take some motion detectors and set them up in a bit. I have like 10 motion detectors. Set them up around us, like 10 feet away from us around the table. And with the idea of maybe if the ghosts were coming in to talk to us, the detector would go off. So we saw a little bit of that going on. But then all of a sudden in front of me, I see Jose go blurry in my camera. Now these video cameras we use are older cameras, or Sony TR-V740s. And I call them ghost detectors because anytime there's been spirit activity in like one of these hotels, the camera always goes blurry. So I'm watching Jose go blurry, and I mentioned it to him. And the next thing I hear from Jose is, "Sir, you have no right to do that. I feel tingly all over. I feel tingly all over." And then Sharon, who's the medium that night, turns to Jose and says, "That's because he's inside of you. You asked for it tonight, you got it." So Jose, and the thing only takes place in under a minute. And Jose is just, "Oh my God, I feel tingling. You have no right to be inside of me in the name of this." So hopefully I can show you the video, because right after he says that, the blurriness goes away. Now, in the meantime, I'm trying to prove, because I know there's going to be investigators out there that are going to, crash this video. So I'm trying to prove that it's not me crossing, infrared streams. So I'm moving the camera off to the side and stuff away from him so you can see that the camera clears up. Back to him, it gets blurry the minute it hits him. So that was a unique experience in there. This is another place, Woodland Opera House. Now, it's under new management. The state, I think the state, well, I don't think the state took it over, but they have a board of directors now. So it's not as easy to get access to like it used to be. But because if you want to ghost, you have to have like buku insurance. But they will do like walking tours through the opera house, just random tours and stuff. So if you want to do that, that's cool. And they might even let you do an EVP or 2 when you're in there. Okay. This building was built in 1885. It's in Woodland, California. It was home to many performers before a fire destroyed it, along with many Main Street buildings. Okay. The fire also took the life of Woodland volunteer firefighter W.M. Porter. He is the main ghost that's in here, but it's not just him. Okay. The Opera House was soon rebuilt on the same site, utilizing foundations and bricks from the original building. It was reopened in 1896 and until 1913. It played host to performers such as the John Philip Sousa Band, Polish actress Madame Helen Macheska, and the George Hen Cohen Group. In 1913, the building was boarded up due to lawsuit, and partially because of the advent of movies. The lawsuit was an upper window on the upper mezzanine. Used to be a door up there, and somebody had walked out the door and fell to their death. That was the lawsuit. In 1971, a Yolo County Historical Society purchased it. 1976, it was designated a California State Historical Landmark. The Yolo County Historical Museum then gave the property to the state in 1980, and 1981, the restoration began again in 1989. It was reported it was reopened after $2 million. Now, recently, it has been refurbished again. They did more work on it. I haven't been in there since it did, but this is like 3 or 4 trips we made there. Since reopening, employees, personnel, and patrons have all reported strange activity, such as a piano moving from one side of the stage to another, threads from costumes found unthreaded after seamstresses returned from lunch. There have also been reports of the smell of cigar smoke on the balcony, the feeling of a presence in the second-story foyer and backstage. The apparition of a man in period clothing has been seen sitting at stage right. Sorry, it says left, but right. In the second tier. A ladder moves across the stage. Some guests also feel a lot of vertigo on that second balcony. Settings on the soundboard get reset by unseen hands, and giant stage lights seem to turn on and off by themselves. The house lights are also known to flicker on and off. Another thing that unnerves the employees is that their desk, when you go in, is opposite. To the left is the main elevator of the building. Well, they'll be sitting there working, and the elevator light comes on, and the elevator opens up by itself. as if somebody's on it and they come off the elevator. And this happens all the time. You could be in there, like if you stop in to chat with them, because they'll tell you about their ghosts. They're really open about it. So if you go in there to chat with them about the paranormal activity in there, that elevator will come down 2 or 3 times. Like somebody's curious about what you're doing. What you're doing there. A strong presence is felt on the stairs going up to the 2nd level. The psychics that I had go out there with us reported that there is a man who is like a stage manager that hangs out on those stairs, and he is very picky about who goes up there. Okay? Footsteps can be heard backstage and in the basement area. Also in the basement area, as you descend the stairs, is the area where Mr. Porter died. He was down there checking stuff, and the wall collapsed down on him. So he was crushed down there. We actually have a photo of him in the spot where it happened. We've been there 3 times. The first while filming, we used to film California Haunts was a public access TV show, and so we were filming another team. And we went in with them and their psychics. Okay, each time we have gone in because that was the first time we went. The second 2 times we went as our own team. So each time we went in, the evidence gathered to be very interesting. On our 3rd trip, we were able to use 9-channel DVR, setting cameras up all over the building. One on the stage, one in the backstage, one in the basement, 2 on the 2nd floor of the thing, one which was aimed at the stairwell, and one pointed at the elevator. When we broke up into 2 teams of 3 and started at separate ends of the building, okay? All investigations were conducted during the day. Okay, this stuff happens during the day. So we'll start talking about some of these locations. We're going to go a little longer with this show tonight because, like I said, you're not able to see these photos or anything. So I'm going to try and fix it so you can see them, okay, off my screen. So we'll see what we can do if I can put you into Photoshop and stuff to see them. So just bear with me. The stage area. As we began taking EMF and temperature readings in this area, I decided to take pictures of the whole, the interior of the Opera House as a whole. While I'm taking these pictures, I noticed that there's a green mist coming down the middle aisle of the Opera House. So I took more pictures. You're supposed to take 3 to 4 pictures in a row when you're shooting this stuff. So in these pictures in sequence, you can see this green mist gets more and more intense. It moves over to the seats, and it moves way over to the stage left seats. But you can clearly see a green mist in these photos, and I'll show you those in a bit. So let me get across these. Also, there's a very famous photo that we can't use because we don't own it. It's from the other team. And there's actually a full-body apparition walking down the same area that we picked up the green mist, that I picked up the green mist in. All right? So I'm forever shooting photos. I pick up this smudge, which I'll show you. There's really no point describing it. At first I thought it was a bug, but it looks like 3 orbs or 3 things of ectoplasm have merged together to make almost a horseshoe shape. But I'll try to show you those later. Another thing from the edge of the Opera House. Jose, I'm going to blow through these and then see if we can bring the photos up. But Jose was taking photos. We had the news and review with us for an investigation. I think it was a news and review. And I had set up the headquarters for the team up on the 2nd-tier balcony, and Jose came in to take some photos, and I was sitting off to the right in the photos, and in the second photo he took, he caught the picture of a little girl, what appears to be somebody sitting there. It looks like a little kid. So hopefully I can get into Photoshop and show you guys this. That stairwell that I was talking about earlier, where the psychics say the manager hangs out, my investigators that went up there, some of them were getting pushed, literally pushed back down the stairwell, like something didn't want them up there. At one point, in the first trip we made, because I was shooting video of the other team for the TV show, one of the psychics starts to go up the stairs, and I turn the camera on, and she turns around in a deep voice, she says, "No photographs, please." And I stopped, because I thought, that's funny. I've got a video camera. She knows I have a video camera. Why is she telling me no photographs, please? The other psychic came up from behind me, and she goes, "That's not her. That's the stair guy." And then it hit me, and I thought, That's why, because to him, I would be taking photographs and not taking video. So that was a weird occurrence. And a photo of that, that's my hearing aid in my left ear. In a photo that I took, following one of my investigators up, I don't usually post photos of orbs unless I know, like if I give orb in motion, if there's activity in that particular spot, where like repeated activity, like people see this guy or people are getting pushed down the stairs or whatever. Well, I happened to get an orb in motion in front of my two investigators as they were going up the stairs. And we'll look at that in a bit here. Up on the second floor mezzanine, where they report, seeing stuff up there and hearing footsteps. Sabrina was up there. She's a channeler. We had gotten her a shawl because she felt that she was in contact with a woman, and the woman spoke a foreign language, so she thought, more than likely Madame Macheska. She said the woman was a singer that liked to hang out at the opera house, in that opera house. So while we're doing the session, Sabrina suddenly looks at me and says, take my picture, she's right in front of me. And after I got the pictures done, I looked at my screen, and there's white splotches in front of her face. And like, if you guys hang out, we'll look at those, I promise. Okay? Also, during that same session, while I was filming her with the video camera, I hear something drop and roll on the floor. And I look down on the floor, and it's a single pearl. I don't know if it was real, but I'm just saying, like a pearl necklace fell apart, and this pearl hit the ground and was rolling. And it came out of nowhere. Everybody saw it, everybody heard it. It was just there. I picked up the same weird looking anomaly that I had picked up earlier by the stage. I picked that up in the catwalk. I actually got up in the catwalk to take some photos. We went down the basement. Sabrina was down in the basement, and she was channeling that stage manager. And she was saying, because Sabrina is half black, and she was saying how the stage manager loved the tone of her skin. And then she said, because it was pitch black in there, and then she says, oh, they're down at my feet. They're all down at my feet. All the actors are down at my feet. So I shot a picture, and I got what I think is an ethereal stream at her feet. What they call an ethereal stream. So we can look at that too. Okay, well, I'm going to get out of this, get back into StreamYard, then we're going to unshare the screen. There have been investigations where I have felt threatened, yes. Gordon Ramsay, yes, Jennifer, Gordon Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay is the guy. I'd be mad at him too if he were in my kitchen. Yes, I have felt threatened. There's a couple of investigations that I wished I hadn't gone to. I felt so threatened. Okay, let me remove this stuff here and get this off of my screen here, and then we're going to try and share again. I'm going to try and do a share. And let me open Photoshop first, okay? Bear with me. Let me get Adobe Photoshop open so I can show you guys these photos. So give me a minute. And then we're going to try and see if I can find the hard drive now. I don't know why it's not showing the hard drive. I may have to hook back up. Okay, since I'm not using this, okay, I'm going to go ahead and hook that other hard drive back up. So just bear with me. Anything can happen when I disconnect. Hopefully I can pull it up. Show me my hard drive. There it is. Now it's going to show me my hard drive, we hope. It says it's there. This isn't good. What is it doing? Stop sharing. Okay. All right, let me try and pull that hard drive up, because they're all on that hard drive, unfortunately. Okay. So let me figure out what I can do. Let's see. I want to take everything off this. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to remove everything off this hard drive. Sorry about that. Okay, we're back. I'm so sorry. Hope you guys are still here. The whole thing lost the cameras, lost everything. I have, like I said, when you have a computer that doesn't have enough memory on it and you're trying to do stuff on it, it will melt down. And with ghost hunting, you use a ton of memory. And so this computer is almost out of memory. But let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and I want to share a screen with Photoshop. We're going to try this again. I really apologize for this. What a cluster, right? Let's go share a screen, and we want to share, select window, Adobe Photoshop. Okay, so here we go. So I don't know if you can see the photos. If you can't, then we got a problem. But okay, I'm going to show you the outside of Seasons. And of course, the photos aren't going to show up. Okay. Here's one of the photos of them, of the investigation starting, we hope. There we go. Let's see if is it showing. Let's see. What's showing? Get this out of here. Go away. Okay. Let me make sure it's showing. Yeah. Okay. So this is Paula investigating. That's during our night at Seasons. You can see that we're in the woods. Over here off to the right is the bathroom at Seasons. And that's where that lady has the curio cabinet. So that's Paula out there doing a meter sweep. So let's hope you're going to see a lot of files. So now this is the curio. Where is it? Where is it? Hopefully I got a clear one. That's the curio inside the bathroom. Remember I told you guys that they were collecting all this evidence? I mean, all this stuff from excuse me while I take this out. Remember I told you guys they were collecting all this stuff from when it rained? This is what she's been collecting. You can see the bullets back here. I'll try and increase it a little bit. Zoom in. There we go. You can see the bullets, and this has all been collected in her yard. The guns aren't, of course, but all this other stuff, like the pottery, all that's been collected in her yard. And then she has this curio. It's a big curio. I mean, she's got Native American pieces in there and everything. Okay. Now, we talked about the stump area. And this is Paula, because I'll get the ones I sent in. Because this ran in the newspaper, so the photos that I sent in are the ones I'm going with. This is the stump area. That's Paula doing her session out there. And there's it's a huge circle you can sit in out in the yard out there. Now, I was telling you guys about the outside area, and here's one of the outside areas that you can sit in. That's the other spot that Paul and I we were seeing our breath out there at night. This is taken during the day at the prelim. But the grounds are just beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and all the rooms are themed like I said, the Peach Room, the Moulin Rouge Room. It's all period stuff in those rooms, so it's just gorgeous. In fact, the beds are so high. Anybody that's like 5'5" or shorter, you can't sit on the beds because they're so tall. It's like old school. Okay, so as we move on, so here is the entrance. You're going to see this at the entrance when you go to this place. It's off of Bedford Avenue. Bear in mind the parking's only one way, and there's no parking on the inside. So on the inside of the street, so you have to park across the way, and there's a brick wall built over there. Let's talk about ITC sessions. We talked about doing an ITC session, and when you do an ITC session, like I said, okay. When you do an ITC session, like I said, this is what happens. You got somebody with a flashlight. I'm taking the photos. Well, I'm taking photos of this, but Paul is taking photos. Julie over here is doing the stirring and asking the questions. So you're going to ask questions just like an EVP session. You're going to rotate your fingers in there and take photos. The problem with this, again, is that when you go to look at the photos, you're taking 30, 40 photos per session. And you're looking at all these water swirls. And so some of these images you're getting are probably a 1/2 inch to 2 inches tall. And you'll see that. So now I'll show you the ITCs that we pulled out of there. ITC 2A, we'll start with that one. Okay. There's a woman's face that we picked up on the ITC session. You can see her eyes, and her nose, and her mouth, and her cheeks. And this matched up with one of the women that had lived in the house previously. I believe it was Margaret. But look at the size of the investigator's knuckle. That's how small the photo is. We'll look at another ITC from there. Okay, ITC 1. I think this is that first photo. Yeah. Let me go into Zoom. There's a man's face right there, probably Buck. You can see him right there. And again, note the size of the investigator's fingers when they're stirring this stuff. Now, when you get these, because they're like, you know, that square, that rectangular photo, in order to find these things, first you have to zoom in, then you have to rotate them all the way around. You know, you rotate, stop, take a look, rotate, stop, take a look, rotate, stop, take a look. It's a very meticulous process to go over these things, to find them. So right there. Next ITC. Where is it? Okay, yeah. 3. There's another man's face. Kind of looks like a skull. Almost looks like a woman, though, when you think about it, with the hair on her head, on top of the head. Definitely a face. That was kind of creepy. And then this one. Definitely a creepy looking face. But we picked that one up. Now remember, I told you these could be from any era because it could be Native American or whatever, because she collected, and she still collects, like uniforms and stuff from other eras, like World War II, you know, British uniforms, whatever. But she collects that. Okay, now we're going to look at the Murphy. So, okay. Let's see if we can get some EVP up here. I don't know. We're going to find out. Everybody okay? Oh, I lost my screen. Really? Okay. Oh, cool. So we're still seeing stuff. Good sign. Okay, let me see what we can do here. I'm going to take you through photos first, then we'll listen to EVPs, because it's easier to do it that way. Okay, we're going to look at, do I have the Woodland Opera House photos? I may not have them available because they're on file with the other things, so we may not have the Woodland Opera House. What is this roaming crap? Okay. Don't do that to me. Okay. So, give you an idea when you're looking at, when you're taking pictures of ITCs, this is what it looks like. See how she's stirring? Then you have to zoom in on all that. Okay, I'm going to try, and I don't know if I can access the Murphy's photos, but we'll see. If anything, we'll get the EVPs for Murphy's in some of those places, because those may be gone forever because those are ingrained in the thing. But let me check. Nothing like StreamYard doing the job, right? Still say I should have done this on Zoom. Okay, well. Yeah, I think we're kind of stuck on that one. But what we can do, I wonder if they'll come up. Let me see something. Just out of curiosity. Nope, okay. Remember when I was talking about Jose getting the apparitions at the Murphy's Hotel, at the Woodland Opera House? Well, here they are. So we're going to go in order. This is the first photo. Make sure we got this. Yeah. This is the first photo. I'm sitting off to the right over here. Okay? This is Jose taking the shot. Now I'll show you the second photo. Here's another photo. Look over there. If you can see that, I'm going to try and zoom in a little bit here. There's someone sitting over here. That wasn't there before. Now I'm going on the zoom in. See right there? There's a little kid. Now I was sitting right over to the right over here. There wasn't anybody there. So that's our apparition from the Woodland Opera House. Now, like I said, there's another one that's out there. I don't own it, so I can't claim it or anything, but it's clearly a person walking up the center aisle of the Opera House. Also, when we were there, during the time we were there doing our investigation, they had to call the fire department because the battery kept running out in the fire alarm. It kept draining. So it was probably Porter, not very happy about it, right? So I wish I could show you more of those photos, but unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. Let's see. Let me see if there's anything else here photo-wise I can show you. Okay, so what we're going to do is I have a video to show you. And now we're going to have to share another screen. I'm sure the computer's going to have a stroke over all this. I want to open this up. Oh, I can't open it up in Photoshop. Hang on. I'm an idiot. Okay, I'm going to stop the share with Photoshop. I'm going to open up another screen. This is an external backup. We're on the external backup, unfortunately. Okay, I'm going to show you Photoshop, or show you something else. So I'm going to go ahead. Let me open something else up here. Let me go into my Passport F. Okay. Oh, he just took it as a photo. I'm going to close Photoshop. I'm going to show you guys something else here, so let me get in there. Remember I told you about the thing that happened with Jose being kind of taken over by something? Okay, I'm going to stop this. We'll go back so I can share it with you guys. I'm going to turn the volume up on this too. Hopefully you can hear the audio too. Doesn't mean you will, but we'll see. But you'll get the idea of what's going on here. Too many shares. Bloody hell. Okay. Note to self. We'll do this again, guys, I promise, but we're going to do it on Zoom. Okay, share. Yeah, I'll show you. Just give me a second. Okay, entire screen. Just go for it. Okay. That should work. No, hang on. Didn't do that. Wrong screen. Move for screen. Okay, let's try this again. Share. Okay, stop screen. Okay, let's try this. Share. Should have done, I swear to God, I should have done this on Zoom. Yeah, it's not going to let me do it, is it? Oh, bugger. Well, I'm going to share this screen. Let me share this screen. Why should I share the screen? Nothing but issues. No, I don't want that one. Oh, maybe I can do it this way. Hang on. If I reduce this down, let's see. Maybe I can do it that way. Let me see something. Let me take that down. Can I see the other screen? Yeah, there we go. Okay. I don't know if you guys can hear this, but I'm going to play it. Let me know if you can hear it or not. Okay. This is the beginning of us doing that session I was talking about in the Mark Twain Ballroom with Jose that night. You can see we're in infrared. Sharon is right next to him. She's our medium for that night. So I'm going to go ahead and play it through. Anything else could go through? Film it. It would be really. Whoa, Jose's blurry as heck.
I just felt that, like chills. Like,
wow, you're completely out of focus, dude.
Yeah, I can feel the energy.
He is right there on the table. Wow.
Wow, my head is tingling. My body's tingling.
He's in Jose right
He's
now.
in Jose.
You are not allowed, sir, to be in me. In the name of
Said
the Father,
I
Son, and the Holy
over
Spirit,
here.
you are not allowed.
Be careful. Coming from the arm.
It is not allowed.
He's gone now.
Thank you. Do not ever do that again.
Wow, that was cool. We caught it all on video.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
It's strange. Well, he said you wanted evidence. He just gave you evidence.
No kidding.
Yes, I felt
wow,
that.
that was wild. First I thought it's because I had crossed the IR lights, but it wasn't.
I just felt
like
numb.
totally
My
numb,
whole
yeah.
body was just numb. It was the
I don't.
I've ever gotten.
First I thought it's because I crossed the IR lights. I was pointing at the IR light, but there's no way. Were you guys able to hear what he said? Because I don't even know if the audio came through. Let me know. But that whole thing was, of course not. Okay. All right. Well, let me figure out how I can get it up on screen. This is driving me insane. Hang on a second. Okay. Well, it's not letting me deal with it, is it? I wish I could do it for you guys, but it's not going to let me. I'm so sorry. But like I said, when you hear me go, wow, you're really blurry, and then all of a sudden he reacts to it. Yeah, it was pretty cool. See, I guess we're still limited with StreamYard about what we can do because I thought we were going to work out. I should have done a run through it. I didn't, so I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. Okay. So if you could hear the audio, we're going to try and do some audio, okay? Let's try and get the audio on this. I apologize. God dang it. Every time it's a StreamYard issue. Let me pull up Audition, and we'll listen to some audio. That's really a bummer because it's really cool. It's really cool footage. See if you guys can hear some audio here. And I'll see if it'll let me share the screen with this, because there's no reason. Okay. So let's see if I can't share the screen now. Let's try the screen share. And it does not like it when I... See, it let me share with Photoshop, but it won't let me. Okay. Let me stop the share on this stuff. See if I can do this. I'm going to order the share screen and see what comes up. Okay, I'm going to play it and see if you guys can hear the audio. And if you can, great. If not, you know what we'll do? We'll just schedule a Zoom. I'm just to the point now where I want to screen with all this stuff. So. Okay. Is that what's coming up if I do that? Huh? Okay, file open. Here we go. Let me open this up. Okay, so let's see what we can do. And if you guys can hear this, let me know. If not, then we're going to have to do this another time, obviously, on Zoom, because I'm getting really frustrated. And, yeah. Okay, so we'll start with the Sequoia. When we were in the bathroom with Karen, and Karen was doing her session, we got this EVP. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it, so let me know if you can hear it or not. And I'm going to play it through. I'll play it it again. Dang it. Every time. Did you guys hear that? I hope. Are you guys here? Did somebody here were you able to hear that EVP? Ah. Okay, so what it says, I'm glad somebody heard the EVP. What it says is, I can't breathe. He says, I can't breathe. And what we found out was that bathroom wasn't there originally on the house. It was built after the fact. It was built when they remodeled. And what there was a tree, and it was a hanging tree. Well, it turned into a hanging tree. Some guy had stolen something from the Sequoia, and they hung the guy. And I guess we picked him up on the EVP. I'll play it again. He says, wow, can't breathe, or wow, can't breathe. So you were right, Jennifer, with, let me get back in here. Okay, so you were right when you heard, whoever heard something about, not now, he says, wow, can't breathe. But like I said, we were able to verify that somebody had been hung in that place, so it's probably him. The other thing we found out from one of the employees, yeah. So the other thing we found out from one of the employees is somebody had been stabbed there too. They thought it might be that, but when we found out about the hanging tree, it kind of fit the profile a little more, you know? Let me pull up another one. I'm glad you guys can at least hear these. Good God. What an embarrassing show this was. Okay. One of these is, okay. Can't breathe. Oh yeah, here we go. Now, while we were visiting, one of the times they were having ballroom dance classes in the main ballroom at the Sequoia. And somebody came running out and said, hey, somebody turned off the lights. We don't know who did it, but somebody turned off the lights. So this is what happened. This is the EVP we got.
Turn the lights on and off in the ballroom, do you know? Well, if I find out, I like it.
I'll play it again.
Turn the lights on and off in the ballroom, do you know? Well, if I find out, I like it.
One more time. Good measure.
Turn the lights on and off in the ballroom, do you know? Well, if I find out, I like it.
So you hear that? They told us. He says Kevin. So I'll play it again. They actually tell us, who turned the lights off is Kevin.
Turn the lights on and off in the ballroom, do you know? Well, if I find out, I like it.
Yeah, he says Kevin. So whoever Kevin was decided that they wanted, I guess he wanted the ballroom, dancing to end that day. So we actually got an answer, so that was kind of cool. The other thing I want to add about the Sequoia is that Karen had said, the second Karen had said that Mrs. B is there, and what she does is she likes to sit and watch. She's a people watcher, so she likes to watch. If you go in there and you feel like you're being watched, it's probably her, because she likes to sit and watch people as they're moving around the building. So that's kind of cool. Let's see what else I can pull open here that's decent. I don't want to put anything crappy out there. Let's see. See, there's stuff that was in different things that we did before. Let's look at Murphy's, and let me open up Murphy's here. Or maybe not. It's not letting me access other files. I don't know why. For some reason, it's... See, this is what I mean. The computer... Oh, there we go. Let's see. Is this anyone I like? No. Okay, let me go find the other files. Again, there's a lot of files on here, so... But this computer is at its max, so that's the issue. My other computer is supposed to be rebuilt, and I haven't quite got the money to put a new hard drive in yet. That's the one I wish I was running. Okay. So we were doing a conference at the Murphy's Hotel, and we were sitting around a table around midnight, same place, Mark Twain Ballroom. I told you it's a happening place. And one of the other people from another team had been asking questions. Now, bear in mind, we were sitting around doing a legitimate seance. All our hands were held, and so nobody was touching anything on the table. The only thing on the table were the silverware and drink glasses. So this is what happens.
Did you ever run the mine?
You get that ping? And like I said, none of us
Did you ever run the mine?
touched it. We all had our hands together. Okay. All right, yeah. So all of us, we all had our hands together. So what that is because I was sitting right in front when it happened, that is the sound of a wine glass pinging that we picked up. Let's do another one.
Are you the one that made that noise?
See if you guys can hear that.
Are you the one that made that noise?
He says, "Are you not hearing me?"
Are you the one that made that noise?
So that was kind of cool. Yeah, chandelier ping on a glass, yeah. So you can hear that one that says, "Are you not hearing me?" And that's a completely different voice from the other voice. Which kind of makes it cool, Could have been the chandelier. It could have very well been the chandelier. But when I was sitting at the table, it really sounded like somebody took a knife and, hit the side of one of the glasses. Let's play that one again. I kind of like this one here. It's one of my favorites. Is "Are you not hearing me?"
Are you the one that made that noise?
I'm going to turn it up a little bit. I like this one. There we go.
Are you the one that made that noise?
Yeah, that was different. "Are you not hearing me?" That's a completely different voice. Now I've got another one from the same session, and we'll see if we can hear this one. I'll play it again. Different voice again. Says "downright insulting." I'll play it again. So it's a different voice all over again. We got like 3 different voices. This is the same session. You got different voices. Downright insulting. We love Murphy's. But Murphy's does that stuff. Let's see. One of these is really good. Throwaway battery. That's the other place. I think it might be this one.
We'll hear it in a lot. We'll hear a maybe.
Right here. He says right here.
We'll hear it in a lot. We'll hear a maybe.
So that's the Murphy's Hotel. That's some of the better ones. Okay, guys. Well, you know what? I think we're going to wrap. Man, this is really embarrassing. And I'm really sorry about the technical difficulties that we had tonight. I don't even know if I'm going to post this video. Wow. I'm just appalled. So I'm going to let StreamYard know how I feel about all this. I'm really sorry, you guys. And I wish it would have gone smoother. I really do. So I'll talk to you later. We'll see you Monday. We're going to have Christy Robinson on talking about nightmares, kind of like today, nightmare. You don't have to share this. Make you share this with your enemies. I want to get off of the screen, get off of share. Yeah, let me get this going. So I'm just going to close. I'll see you. I'm just disgusted.